ambayo ni ya kulima, that's not the same as that car wash. Can open and within 1 week he has gotten customers, so he can repay the loan within 1 month. But if you are in business, you have to wait for up to 3 months depending on. So when you're negotiating your loan, can it be spread in a way that the time the cash flows start coming in, that's when you start making your loan repayment. So those are some
so
of
basically
the things that you can look
when
into,
you're making
when
your
it comes
money,
to loan
so that
management.
means that's the time you can be able to pay your loan.
Exactly, yes. So that's part of the negotiations that you need to look into. And
Okay,
also related to that,
from the people watching, but nimalizie kwanza and then I can ask them.
Okay, so another thing that we need to look into is called a bank overdraft. And a bank overdraft is just meant to salvage you. Maybe a month has gone down or you have a tender to supply and you don't have cash. But you cannot use something like a bank overdraft to buy a vehicle, because kitu kama gari, you're going to use it for 3 years. Lakini overdraft, you have to pay it within 1 year. So trying to match your money, the asset, the use of the cash to what the asset, or rather to the cash that you're getting, is very important. And can I go ahead and give another one on tax?
Okay, because yes, actually, because tax season, I think people have 6 days to file their taxes, so that's actually very important for people who are in business.
Actually, it's 4.
4 days.
Yeah, it's actually 4. It's 4
it
days.
is 4 days.
Today is 26.
Guys,
so
I hope you filed your tax returns.
I hope you filed your. Yeah. So tax management is what we're talking about, and given as an illustration of what affect many businesses in terms of their cash flow. And
Yes.
I always encourage people, before you start a business, please jua ni which taxes are affecting that particular business as an individual, because at this time when all over the news we're hearing KRA is short of targets, I'll not be shocked hata mtu wetu wa car wash akianza kuitishwa taxes zake, somebody who was being spared before. So we don't want to be caught. Detergent and water levy, all those. So what happens in terms of taxes is 2 things. In fujo wako nayo siku hizi, it's quite the demand letters are flying left, right, and center. So it's going to be an interesting one. So the other an item we call VAT. And VAT, this one I know is for businesses which have got a turnover of something close to 5. That part an invoice which has got an ATR. Yes. Now, if your customers are the ones who are going to take 60 days to pay you, and you already declared that uko na sale in, let's say we are in the month of June, and you already declared that uli make a sale, na yule mtu atakulipa August, ile VAT, the VAT amount that is up there, that is you'll have to pay yourself, and make sure that customer has, you have to be pushy to the customer base, and that's what you have some backup to avoid you being the one who is going to finance that tax amount. Ya mwisho ni how we do our costing and pricing. Remember, we had said that one place where we go wrong is doing our costing wrongly. Automatically our prices is also off. And what you is, always people can be, in as much as you are in business and you're selling many items, kama unaweza fanya job costing, an item ufanye cost ya each and every product on its own, as opposed to, unajua, in the larger scheme of thing, biashara yako inaweza it's doing well, but you may look at it, when you look at it in detail, some business are eating. If you've got a combination of a product and a service, ujue ni wapi profits zako ziko and which ones are going to be eating into the other, to avoid one eating into the other. Another item that is closely there is when we talk about, yes, you need your cash customers to keep you going. Their sales may not be that much, but you still need your credit customers because they are the ones who tend to have higher sales. So when you strike the balance to avoid being kuegemea upande wa wale ambao ni customers wa cash, alafu your business fails to grow, or rather it doesn't grow as fast as you'd have hoped, that is one way of looking and addressing that part. And last but not least, around that costing and pricing strategy is having what we call a cash reserve account. And what we mean by a cash reserve account is whenever you make a sale and you've been paid, if you can put out some money, put it, even maybe it's a third or even a tenth of what that money of that you've been paid, put it aside so that now you are left with this other amount to pay your expenses. It will really go a long way to helping you have achieved that. And when it comes to paying yourself, don't wait until you, I know what wa biashara we say that leaders eat the last, but it can help you as you're paying your employees, also pay yourself to avoid you getting that ka 50, 100, that ka 1,000 that you get from your business every now and then, and it will to avoid stifling your biashara yako. Yeah,
Okay,
so
okay.
those are terms, the what I've seen. Those are the cash flow management tips that I
Okay.
would gladly share with the team. Yes.
I love how you've gotten into it, and I've had some very effective solutions here, especially kwa hiyo story ya sales. Kama watu wanasema watakulipa na credit, KRA haijui. Kama uliandika kwa VAT, kwa ATR, it will ask you for the money in June.
Exactly.
And
In fact, argument yao ni kuwa the argument is usually that ukienda ukope hiyo amount. I was just adding that as you were saying hawajui, they argue that the penalty that they could charge you.
Kienda kumalizia, because we're just about to finish, but let me ask you 2 or 3 questions. We have Bwana Evans Michael. He's coming in. Shout out to you, Evans. Thank you for tuning in. When closing business in the evening, what are the key tech points to know the business is moving in the right direction? Kiangalia vitabu zako at the end of every day.
Okay. One, the two items that I will look at is, the crucial one is stock. Angalia ile stock ulianza nayo asubuhi, then you should reconcile it to what was your tunaita opening stock. Reconcile what was your opening stock. Check, have you purchased anything during the day? Unaiongezea hapo, then una less what you have sold. Whatever you get as the figure, opening stock plus purchases minus closings minus sales, should get you what you call your closing stock. So ukiangalia uone that uko na, kama ulianza na viberiti 10, ukifanyia hesabu whatever will be your closing stock, if you actually do a physical count, you should actually get that number of your stock count. Then closely related to that is your cash position. Angalia, nilianza na X amount, maybe 1,000, nimeuza 5,000, and then nimelipa mtu anduthi maybe another 1,000. So that's 1,000 plus 5,000, 6,000 minus 1,000. So that's, okay, let me even say minus 2,000, so that it gives you 4,000. Is 4,000 the amount that I have in my till? So those are crucial checks that you can start with.
Ukifanya hiyo hesabu yako uangalie hiyo M-Pesa business still, if that number matches your hesabu, uko sawa.
Uko sawa. Because it also helps in, unajua kama you may be the owner of the business lakini hauko hapo, so hata the mere fact that you are checking even your employees who will be conniving, it will deter them from hawatathubutu
watajua mdosi anaangaliaga, tusijoke.
Exactly. It's just like you see happening in petrol stations, so it's crucial.
Okay, that's a good answer. Shout out to you, Evans Michael, for that question. I hope that has answered you. David Manza has come through and said, companies that are reopening after closure due to COVID-19, how can they manage cash flow considering money that is coming in has significantly reduced?
Number one is check. Hello, can hear you. I had the question. So to answer, I'll go to stage number one, which we had talked about, staff management strategies. And staff management ni kuuliza, how much staff number, what's my staff numbers that I need at any one given time. It's unfortunate that some of these are the hard decisions that business owners will have to make of knowing what are my optimal staff numbers. Then ukishajua what is a good staff number, can one staff, we might have to stretch our staff to do more than one task than they were doing before. It's no longer, business will not be as usual. So unaweza kuta mtu is having to double up in what they do. And then you might also have to decide, do I pay them on commission or do I pay them on salary, on a fixed salary? So that's a decision you have to look into. And another thing that you need to look into is fixed cost, kitu kama rent. Ndio ulikuwa unalipa rent ya hiyo nyumba ama hiyo premises. I've had many businesses saying, hata hii COVID imenifanya nione, I didn't actually need all this room. So I
True.
can, kumbe I could work from my small SQ or my Kawan office. So those are whatever, in fact, we call it whatever you can call to be your fixed cost. Because the reason is ile tunasema you have to pay them whether you have business or not. Can you, what can you hide? What can you trim? Alafu it can to minimize your, because you'll be operating on a minimal budget. So you just want to make enough cash to cater for those costs as they are. That's what we call breaking even.
Okay. Okay,
That's
so
it. Those are two of the ones that you can look into.
essentially, if the money coming in iko less, make sure that the money going out pia imepungua.
Hata
Okay,
hiyo
okay.
itabidi imepungua.
Itabidi. Other Morioki coming through, how do I interpret a cash flow statement? That's our second last question. We have the last one coming up in just a bit, but answer that one. How does he interpret a cash flow statement?
Okay. So I'll give a very top of mind on what we call a cash flow statement. We call it's interchangeable. We call it either a cash flow statement or a cash flow projection. So it's got three parts. Part ya kwanza is what we call your opening cash balance. Then number two is your sales. And then number three is your cash outflows. So what you say is your opening cash balance plus zile sales make, those are what you mean, that adds up to what was your initial. Then less cash ambayo umetumia for that day. What you'll get as your closing cash balance, it means in a normal scenario, it should always be positive. You have used that money, unless you have used your own money to run that business. So if you can adhere strictly to business money, business money, and then you just do opening cash plus cash inflows for the day, less cash outflows, what you call your cash, if it's positive, it means you still, technically you can call it like it's your profit, because that's the money that has been left, unless you
Yes.
have people who wamekusupply ya vitu on credit that hujawalipa. But if you find that it is negative, it means you have a cash shortfall. So that cash shortfall is now what you then use, and we call it, there's something we call a projection. A projection ni ile, you look at what are your sales for this month, and then what you project to sell over the next coming months. So that if you can see a time where you are going to have a cash shortage, you need to fund that gap early in advance. And
Okay.
we always say it's good to anticipate when will there be a cash shortage, so that you don't find yourself in the last minute. That's when you're going to borrow money, because chances are that when you go to borrow money on the last minute, you might end up going to the loan sharks, who will be more costly than a
'Cause you're
normal
desperate.
scenario that you could have borrowed from.
Okay.
Exactly, the desperate is what is the key word here. Yeah, so it
Okay.
will become at a very costly rate.
Okay, last question from Mushega Indiaka. He's asked, kindly give insight on the impact of FX translations in regard to cash flow management. Tufanye hiyo alafu tufanye ka summary, then we can start closing up.
Okay. In terms of translation, what that means is that we can interpret it two ways. FX means I could be having some money in my bank, I could be having a US dollar account. Yeah?
Yes.
Alafu, I deposited this money in my USD account when the dollar to the Kenya shilling was exchanging at 100. Now, 1 month later, the dollar is exchanging at 90. So what that means is that I've technically lost 10 shillings, as we call it, papers, because until you withdraw that money and you actually take the hit, that's what we say has been, you've lost the money. And we disclose it separately from a person who has, the money is still in the bank. And if it is still in the bank, bado hujaipoteza, but you have a book loss of that extra 10 shillings. Now, if you go and withdraw that 90, you've technically lost, because you gave it at 100 and you lost it, you've exchanged it at 90. So that's the loss that comes in. And the flip side can apply. You can have put it at 100 and now it's trading at 110. So you could have gained that extra 10 shillings, or you could have lost it as well. So FX losses, we always encourage differences. Yeah.
Okay, so you can see kama your business is actually losing money because of a business process or a certain commodity or a certain service, ama ni your book losses or profits, as you said. So you know the difference.
Exactly, yes. You
Okay,
know the
okay.
difference. And then also, if you allow me to mention something closely related to that, is it's just
Yes,
like if
to really properly do your cash flow management.
Mhm.
There are things that you need to minimize, because I love the question that came through. Was it from Bwana Arthur Moirori that said that business is opening up now after, oh, this was from David Manza. He asked businesses that are opening up now after COVID-19, how can they manage their cash flow? So those businesses, I know a lot of people are reopening after COVID-19. Just make sure, just look at your fixed costs, try to minimize them. The rent that you are paying, you can move to a smaller place. The employees that you had, it's sad, but you might need less employees and you might need your current employees to work a bit harder. So reduce all of those expenses. Same for loan management. Maskeyo Storia moratorium. If you can get your bank, whatever agreement that you have with them, make sure that you're taking you're chipping away at your principal. Si kila time unalipa that interest. Make sure you're just chipping away at that principal. Something else that I've seen, you can probably pay your taxes in installments. Remember, you have exactly 4 days, I believe. Yeah, 4 days for you to file those taxes. So maybe think about
Charlie.
the biashara is keeping nice and healthy. So here's the thing, tumemaliza, but tafadhali, if you haven't, if you've missed part of this, it's going to be on our pages forever at Safaricom PLC on YouTube and on Facebook and on Twitter. Tafadhali rewatch in case there's something that Bwana Josephat Irura said na haukuelewa. Tafadhali go and rewatch it. And also watch episode 1. We had Bwana Waithaka from Centonomy, the CEO of Centonomy. He also gave us some amazing lessons there. Thank you to everyone who's come through and tuned in. I'm just seeing some of your names here. Sam Atemat, I'm seeing you, Ayodi, Francis Ikutwa, Kadamon, Harmonies, Moach, Mohia. I'm seeing Dan Moirori. All of you guys have been tuned in. David Manza came through with your question. So asante sana for tuning in. We're about to head out, but we will be back in our brand new studio very soon with more tips for you as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, right here on the Safaricom webinar, where we are
My name is Sylvain Betrino. I run a car wash by the name of Shaki Car Wash. We do a couple of services. Most of them are car care services. Naturally, I like clean cars. I always want to drive my car when it's clean.